trouble if she gets on base. This is the 4th best batting average team in the country this year. And they have continued that into the postseason with a .406 batting average through the regionals and the super regionals. And they will face the freshman, Ruby Malin, who they saw in 18 innings of work during the regular season series and the Pac-12 tournament. They split those games 2 apiece. Freshman out of Omaha, a 3rd-team All-American at 18-5, making her 24th start of the season.
Malin can just be explosive in the circle. She's got a lot of different tools that she can work with. Great rise ball at the top of the zone. She'll get you to chase. How about on the outer half of the zone? She can also go down off speed. So north and south combination with a mix of speed. Malin, just an outstanding athlete all the way around. Great chase rate, 44%. So she's getting people to swing at pitches out of the zone. Whiff rate of over 48%, which is, for the freshman, really good. She's going to have to keep the ball in the park against Utah. Gave up 3 home runs in her time against Utah.
These 2 clubs were supposed to play here last night. We had 2 weather delays of over an hour long, and so they got pushed back to today. So this is their first action in our double elimination format here in the opening round. Malin to face Aaliyah Bellardi in the leadoff spot. Junior out of Lakewood, California, and a member of the all Pac-12 conference team. As you probably heard yesterday, we have microphones that can pick up some chatter with the umpires. Megan Rabin is behind the plate. Danny Bowman, Tracy Guest, and Tom Meyer on the bases.
Allie, only 9 Ks on the season. She's got that rare swing and miss. But 3 of those 9 Ks came against Ruby Malin earlier in the season. It's been a good matchup for Washington against a really tough hitter. And Allie has some short game too. Actually didn't start swinging away again until this year.
Well, I love that, Jess, the adjustments. Don't always have to slap, don't always have to hit when you're from that left side.
It's funny because she came to Utah and she was only a hitter, and they're like, it's not really working out. You know, that humble freshman year, you know, you're struggling. Let's go to the short game. Taught her how to slap, and so that's what she did. Was only a slapper, completely eliminated hitting away, and then this year she's like, I want to bring it back.
Yeah, high school to the Pac-12 is a bit of a leap with all the outstanding pitching on the West Coast.
Well, and that's the beauty of being from the left side, because then you have something else to go to. She already has the speed, so it's kind of a no-brainer. And she was surprised she actually never really did much of a short game as far as slapping until she got to college. But now she's incorporated both, which is what made her numbers go up so high, 400 hitter.
.31 pitch. Skies that one out to left center, and drifting over to make the play is Jadelyn Alchin, 1 down. This is a Husky defense, number 4 in the country in fielding percentage, very strong. They have been reliant a lot of the time this year on their pitching and their defense to keep them in games and then getting that clutch hit or 2. Here is Alyssa Bonstrom as their best hitter steps in, the senior out of Tucson. And what a moment for her, stepping in the same batter's box that was also home to her older sister Kayla in college softball. But unlike Kayla, she gets to move on to the Women's College World Series. And was telling us how much she learned over the years. Her dad was a softball coach, and of course watching Kayla play the game has been a great mentor for her. That was a former Pac-12 Freshman of the Year playing at Stanford in her day. Of course, the Cardinal are also back here at the World Series this year, so the Pac-12 with 3 teams, that's the most.
It's an impressive year for the Pac, considering even UCLA didn't even make it here, and they were the regular season champs.
A stunning knockout. The number 2 seed went down in the regionals. And that, ironically enough, opened the door for Utah, who would have had to go to Westwood to play in a super. Instead, they got to stay at home where they beat San Diego State. Here's Amy Hogue, now in her 16th season. Former player of the year at Utah when they were in the WAC before they joined the Pac-12. By the way, their arrival here now means that all of the schools in the Pac-12 that play softball have made an appearance
So awesome.
at the Women's College World Series. Of course, they were the dominant force for the first 30 years here, winning 23 titles, but just one in the last decade. Is this the group of teams that can get them back on top? And a walk. So a pair of 3-ball counts.
And she's had great numbers, too. I think that's why the timeout kind of being called right now. You saw the walk, but Juju Jimenez against Ruby Milan, 6 for 9, 2 doubles and a home run.
So this is a new development right here. It looked like Ruby asked for the coach to come out for a chat. They already have activity in their bullpen. As to whether or not there might be an issue physically with the rookie in the circle, we shall wait and see. But a couple of 3-ball counts here early, guys. And that was Lindsay Lopez, their other stud, who was loosening up in the pen quickly. And here is Jimenez. Twice an all Pac-12 performer after she transferred in from Michigan. Senior out of Fontana, California. Has a base runner to work with. The Utes, 87% success rate with that program record 99 swipes.
And look at the distance that Juju is off of the plate. I'm just expecting to be hammered on that inner half.
Yep. You've seen that already, Smitty. So many games where the approach, the game plan, the understanding is hitters moving throughout the box, even within the game.
Yeah.
To make those adjustments.
And so as a pitcher, you can see the river there, the distance between the chalk and the plate. You have to move the plate over. You cannot throw to that inside corner right there, because that would be right down Broadway for Juju.
Boy, she did bring that one inside, but off the plate.
So, and this is the difference too with, you know, catchers and pitchers not calling the game, that it's coming from the dugout.
Yeah.
And so when hitters are moving in the box before, I mean, I used to you would see that and make those adjustments, but
sure.
It's coming from the dugout. They can't always see that.
Right, so you have to make those adjustments. As a pitcher yourself, you know, okay, if you're being called to call an inside pitch, that doesn't mean throw it on the corner. Sometimes you have to when you're behind in the count. When you're ahead in the count, you need to adjust that inside part of the plate just like you would on the outside part of the plate if you're running a pitch away from the hitter.
That's Lance Glasso. Works with the pitchers. Kyle Novak, the hitters for Heather Tarr. 1-2 pitch. Reaches out for it, and it's off the glove of Bailey Klingler. So what they've relied upon all year, strong pitching and strong defense, and a couple of oops already.
This pitch on the outer half, this is a curveball that just gets hammered the other way. And you could see by the footwork immediately that Klingler was going to have issues with that ball. The way she went back, her feet were close, and she was already turning to the side. Now, you do want to cause separation and rotate a little bit, but I think she needs to be a little bit lower to the ground, feet apart, a little bit more balanced.
First error of the postseason.
Yeah. Let's see how costly that might be. That should have been the third out.
This is what they're known for, too. You got a freshman pitcher in the circle that gets a weaker ground out.
Sophie Jaquez, junior out of Rancho Murrieta, California. They call her Buff Baby due to her extensive work in the weight room.
That's a great nickname.
I love it.
She's hitting .526 here in the NCAA tournament.
Beth, she's only had 2 swing and misses all season long. She is one of those players that puts the ball in play, that 2% whiff rate. And that's why she has success in the NCAA tournament. You just saw it there. If you're putting the ball in play, you're putting pressure on defense.
Utah trying to capitalize early off of the walk, and then an error on what should have been a double play ball. The first error since the Pac-12 tournament. They had 3 against the Utes in a loss.
Yeah, this team definitely rolls a lot of ground balls. That defense so imperative, and being able to make those plays, turn the double plays when needed, so important.
Malin trying to settle in. Full count, so another full count, or a 3-ball count from Ruby, and you can see the infielders coming in, the veterans trying to cool things off a little bit. Well, there's definitely something going on right now for Washington. As Malin calling out to the dugout, "Give me the pitch."
Inverted on her ball strike ratio, 11 balls to just 9 strikes in this inning.
Fought off what looked like it was going to be ball 4.
Yeah, almost hit her. I think that's when you get in your head, she's coming with a strike, she's coming with a strike, and so you're just swinging.
She is, it would appear, trying to buy time here between every pitch now. Third-team All-American is Ruby, former high school National Player of the Year, but you know, you get into these moments, it's a little bit different. Trying to settle herself in. Looked like she shook that pitch off. Let's see what she goes with. And gets the strikeout.
I love that. I love when a pitcher just owns what they want to throw. Smitty, you know this better than anybody. The understanding of, and you can tell there's a miscommunication happening between her and the dugout. She shakes it off to come back. With this pitch on the outside part of the plate, she gets a beautiful spin, and you see for a hitter that's only swung and missed twice within the strike zone all season long. A big strikeout for the Huskies.
Yeah, it's a great drop ball in the outer half. Love the way she comes up on that front toe to really get over the top of that pitch.
So now 2 on with 2 out for Carly Davison, who has been swinging a smoking hot bat in the postseason. Last 12 games for Carly, 7 home runs and 14 runs batted in for the freshman out of Torrance. Deep breath to collect herself. One and one.
Again, a drop ball in the outer half, a little bit elevated, but well placed on the corner. Utah, almost every one of their hitters off the plate, really looking for that inner half. Ruby will throw a little bit of curveball to expand the zone, but she's mostly north and south.
Ground ball to short. Long throw across the way for Riley Holtorf, and she's got it. So And they will face a familiar foe in Mariah Lopez, who just beat them in the Pac-12 tournament a couple weeks ago. The junior from Peoria, Arizona, will start for the 7th game in this postseason for Utah.
Yeah, Mariah Lopez really has a lot of that lefty spin. She's going to expand the zone with a curveball. She'll also be able to throw that pitch inside to lefties and righties, but it's that changeup in any count that makes her so effective. It's an elite level mix and change of speeds, and when she is on with that off speed, she is just tough to hit because she blends those pitches so well together.
Right away, it's an All-American showdown with Bailey Klingler, the transfer from Texas A&M, who makes her World Series debut here with Washington. Senior out of Houston, who last year was the Triple Crown winner, just the 3rd ever in Pac-12 history. Coming back again this year as a first-team All-American. By the way, if that number 8 jersey and the lefty form for Mariah Lopez looks a bit familiar, well, you may have seen a little something similar from her pitching coach with the Utah Utes. The national champion from Oklahoma, Paige Parker, there she is. Couple of trophies.
How about that? Elite lefty, teaching another lefty, getting that spin, getting that curve stuff going. One of the best in the business.
And Mariah in for a strike.
Well, to see her come in on her own as a coach.
Yeah.
Because you know this, like, the one thing to know it as a player, but then to teach it.
1-2 to Klingler. Starts out with that front foot way out on the chalk, almost outside the box.
Nice changeup. That's the pitch that she just throws so well. She blends with all of her other pitches. Previous pitch was a screwball. She was trying to expand the zone, going away from Klingler, and then she comes back with that off speed at 53 miles an hour.
Oh, but Klingler got a piece, and she's 9 for 15 against Lopez. She's got a home run. You remember.
Absolutely.
You know how you did.
She was not able to hold up on the swing, and a called strike 3. Bailey thought she did. 1 down.
This is the screwball. She's going to go back to that pitch. It's going to be going away.
Now she held up.
I think she held up on that.
Total hold.
Oh, yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah. No, that was a good hold. Klingler got rung up on that. That's a screwball in the outer half that she starts to attempt at but does not bite at or go to.
Yeah, that's a bad call.
Yeah, that's a tough call.
Good fortune for Lopez. And here's Sammy Reynolds.
I do wish you could review that.
It should be, you know, as we continue to expand the replay review, hopefully one day we get to a point where it's automatic, like, hey, we can ring down from on high and say, whoop,
yeah,
let's get a redo on that one.
Just help you out. It's hard to see. We can see it in slow motion. So much easier. That's her first strikeout, too, since May 5th versus Kennedy. I mean, Klingler struck out 5 times all season. So that's why she's like, no, I know when I swing.
That's why she
really
happens.
Yeah.
Sammy from Snohomish, one of those super seniors, all World Series team member. She showed up here in her younger days and played well. Grounds to second base. Belardi's got it, 2 out. Pretty good turnout considering this is bonus softball, not on the schedule, but some weather delays last night pushed this game from the evening to this afternoon. Noon start local. Madison Husky. 90% of the national champions start out by winning their first game. And even more critical for these two today because the winner plays again tomorrow night, but the loser has to come back for an elimination game this evening against Oklahoma State, where you know there'll be a big crowd of Cowgirl fans from just down the road a pace, up the road in Stillwater. That one's set for 9:30 Eastern. Our first game, 7 Eastern, Alabama-Stanford winner go home.
Ball's down.
In what is likely to, I think, would be a start for Montana Fouts tonight.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
The face, the Tide Talisman, as I'm calling her, the face of the program. A chance to extend their season. Oh, hopped up at her, but a nice play by Jimenez to stick with it. And a 1-2-3 inning for the Utes. Scoreless to the second. So definitely in Oklahoma, a championship influence in the Utes dugout. Really cool, though, the 1176. So there are 1,410 seats at Dumke Stadium. So their workout program was 14 push-ups, 10 planks. They would do 15 wall balls for 15 times to the tournament. And then 19 inverted rows and 76 jump ropes.
I know what we're doing between games.
1976 was the first year of the program.
That's so cool.
All information courtesy of our Hall of Fame reporter, Holly Rowe. Pass that along to us.
Well, it's intentional, right? Every time you're doing a push-up, a sit-up, a jumping jack, whatever, you're thinking about the outcome, the end goal.
You're hating your team's history. Why do we have these things? No.
I'll do a plank. You guys split the other 9. Abby Dayton to lead things off. 6, 7, and 8 coming up. Abby's a 500 hitter in the postseason after she hit 381 during the regular season. Freshman out of Riverside. Of course, not just the players that were here prior that had to sort of change the way that they prepared and played with what DJ Gasso was trying to show them in terms of their hitting, but also these youngsters stepping right in and absorbing all that knowledge. Waves that out to left. Ooh, almost had Reynolds drifting. One down.
Reynolds started to come in just a little bit, paused, and then went back. Good recovery.
That's where the slap is sneaky, because she slaps this out, so you're thinking, oh, she's dunking it in. She ran into, she got lucky, but that's also athleticism. It's not easy to do, run in, run back, make that catch. That would have been a triple at least.
Would love to be a fly on the wall, by the way, around the Gasso household. Jim's, sporting the T-shirt to support his son right here.
Oh, Patty's.
If you've been around the Gassos, they are a little bit competitive.
A little bit.
Just slightly.
Slightly. Don't get in an Uno game with them.
Wonder if there's a time limit on that T-shirt. Then he's got to go back to the Crimson.
Well, yeah, it's today. Oklahoma's not playing today, so.
He's going to be coaching, by the way. Got a coaching gig here in Oklahoma City. Former football guy, now into the softball.
We bring everybody over.
This is Haley Denning, senior from Phoenix, having a career year.
Look at Bailey Klingler and the defensive shift that they're doing. You do not see this. Klingler at second base is actually even with the pitcher Ruby. I mean, you do not see this ever, and this is just challenging the short game and the speed, the ridiculous speed of Haley Denning, because they can't throw her out if she hits it to second base at regular.
And what this does is allows the first baseman to stay back. So she's not moving when she tries to catch the ball, find the bag, make the catch.
Meanwhile, look at the center fielder in the usual spot, drifting to the left that you see often against the slappers, but that is a massive hole now over the second baseman's head. Wow. Into right center.
Well, and when you're a hitter and you see the shift, probably a good chance everything's going to be outside.
Because Haley Denning has 24, count them, 24 infield hits this season. I like that UW's thinking outside the box. Yep. This is, wow. I'm sorry, as a hitter, I would be, that's in your face.
Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, something to consider as you're talking about that defensive positioning and Abby Dayton trying to get that shot to fall. Utah's home field at Dumke Stadium is much larger than this. It is 235 to the center field. Down the lines, it's 220. And I noticed last week at the Super Regionals, Utah was so good at finding that grass, that extra space. So this is a little bit shorter field. Can they find the grass that they're so used to? I think it's a big part of the game plan today.
And that's a good point, Holly, because the deeper the fences, the more room the outfielders have to cover.
Wow. Oh, and Malin could have had that, and look at this. It's going to turn into a potential double.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me?
That could not have possibly gone worse for Washington after they appeared to shift into the right position.
Yeah, but how about the speed of Haley Denning? I mean, you've got Huskies in your grill, in your face, and look at her finding that hop. Yes, Ruby Malin maybe, yes, could have gotten that, but this is like 10-mile-an-hour exit velocity, and it's what a double because of her reading, understanding, and getting into second base. That is incredible. And this is Utah softball. This is what they do.
Wow, and it's interesting, the positioning. It's so important that everybody knows where everyone is, and Ruby, the freshman pitcher, her reacts on that ground ball.
Lundberg opposite way, and that'll drop in, and Denning will motor around third. The throw comes into second, and a run scores as Lundberg slides in safely to give Utah the lead. Couple doubles in a row.
Remember how we talked about a lot of the hitters being off the plate? Look at the location of this pitch. Lundberg does a good job of just going away with this. Literally, it's like a three-quarter swing, barely getting fair, finding that place on grass like Holly talked about. That's exactly what Utah's doing in a variety of ways.
Well, and that pitch misses, it comes and bleeds back over the plate, and it's just attacked by Lundberg. Really good job of shooting that the opposite way, Jess.
And that is how
Haley Denning,
Utah generates runs right there.
I mean,
with a new school record, by the way, for doubles now, with back-to-back from Denning and Lundberg.
we have never seen that here before. To be able to see the slap utilized the way that Haley Denning and literally manufacturing that run, you give so much credit to Lundberg, to finding grass, to getting her in, but the fact that Haley Denning was standing on second base on a weak ground ball to manufacture at, so impressive.
Well, in the lower half of the lineup for Utah, they're so aggressive. Denning, she typically takes only about 2 pitches in at bat, and in the postseason, it's been even less. It's been less than 2 pitches, so she attacks early in the count. That was a 1-2 hit that she got back over Malin's head, and then Lundberg, she's just coming up first pitch swinging, seeing a pitch that bleeds back over the middle. This is a very aggressive Utah staff, hitting lineup. And one of the things I look at that's interesting, they have a .332 batting average. Their on-base percentage, just .388. They only had 121 walks coming in. So what that tells me, the squeeze or the small difference between the batting average and on-base is that they don't go deep into counts.
No.
They don't walk a lot. They're early. They attack early. They're looking for pitches that pitchers want to throw to get ahead, and they attack those. And they're also good at hitting with 2 strikes.
Amy Hogue, the head coach who played here twice at the World Series in her Utah days. Espinoza checks the runner, fires to first, 2 down. Holly?
Well, that speed from Haley Denning producing that early run for the University of Utah. Amy Hogue said she recruited Haley Denning when she was watching her in high school, and she saw her steal home from third on a wild pitch that only went about 10 feet. She said, I knew then she was fearless and fast, and I wanted her.
Well, speed never slumps, and when you have speed in your lineup, it just opens it up to all the different tools, all the different things that you can do, put pressure on a defense, a very good defense that Washington has.
Already some fascinating strategic moves, and the defensive shift that looked like Washington had it played perfectly And then a decision perhaps by Ruby Malin. Did she let it go? Did she not? Thinking that the defender was right there behind her to make the play.
Definitely let it go because she went to reach and stopped.
Here's Belardi back to the top of the order. She flew out her first time up. Hitting .500 in the postseason with runners in scoring position. Here's the 1-1, and perhaps, Smitty, you can take us through what a pitcher is thinking in this situation.
Well, this is important to know where your teammate is. Klingler is right next to her, right? And Holtoff, she's in the 5-6 hole. You need to know no one is back there. You have to go get that. She pulls her glove down. If she keeps her glove up, she catches that. That is a ground out. That's a 1-3 out in the books. But because she's not quite sure where everybody is, I think that's just nerves. It's being a freshman.
Yeah, which is incredible because Bailey's standing next to her.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important that you're constantly talking.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be like, hey, Malin, I'm in the 5-6 hole. Klingler needs to be, hey, I'm right by your side. Constantly talking to remind her, because as a pitcher, you're thinking about pitch location. What am I doing? What's next pitch? Where's my defense behind me?
Shows you the tunnel vision of a pitcher to home plate that she doesn't even know what's around her.
Well, important right here to limit it to just the 1 run. And try and take care of Belardi, because Bonstrom, with that big bat, is on deck. You see her talking to herself a little bit, firing herself up.
Utah does such a good job of protecting the zone. They've been really good with 2 outs in the NCAA. They're hitting over .350 in the NCAA with 2 outs, 19 2-out hits. And you can score 2-out RBI. A lot of coaches will say situational hitting, 2-out RBIs. Those are the things that propel you to championships.
Full count to Belardi.
Ball.
And draws the walk, and that will bring up Bonstrom with a pair on base. Alyssa walked the first time up.
And last at bat too, Ruby was kind of afraid to get over the zone. She remembers her numbers. She has 2 home runs this season against Malin.
Yeah, she hit one off of her in the Pac-12 semis, and you saw the nugget right there, the all-time RBI leader in Utah history stepping up.
See what pitch Bonstrom is hunting. She talked about it before the tournament.
Ball out.
She said, if I'm hunting inside, she's like, I'm going to sell out. I am just going to go for that inside. If I'm hunting outside, I'm going to let it travel. Taking that outside pitch, I think she's hunting inside right now.
See if they go there.
Does Washington think the same thing?
They've hardly thrown her a strike.
Oh, yeah. Golfs that foul territory, and over by the fence and making a leap for it is Sammy Reynolds.
I guess cheerleaders who helped get her here.
Yeah, and Holly, she was quite emotional talking to us the other day and feeling quite parental herself about this team. Really cool moment, too. The purple bleachers back at Husky Softball Stadium. They painted 2 of them gold, where Vic and RD used to sit, and they keep those with their spirit still in the house. And when we referenced that 7-run 7th inning comeback, she said, absolutely no doubt in our minds that Mom and Dad were there. And a pretty cool moment as well. You know, they called Don James, the old football coach, the dog father. And they have gotten to calling Heather Tarr the dog mother for the success that this softball program has had, including the first coach ever to lead her former team back to the World Series to win a national championship, with Heather Tarr did with Danielle Laurie in the circle back in 2009. And as you can see by the t-shirt, an ardent supporter of women's athletics. 1-2 pitch to Jadlyn Alchin, and a swing and a miss up out of the zone. 1 down. It's 4, 5, and 6 in the order to face Mariah Lopez. Heather has been a part of 24 of the 30 seasons that they have been playing softball at Washington. First as a player, and now you see what she's done as a coach. Everybody that puts on the purple and gold has played here in Oklahoma City.
Wow. That's a pretty cool stat. Not a lot of teams can say that.
Well, and I think also not only her passion for having played there, as you take a look at the 3 Pac-12 coaches. I love these photos. Amy Hogue, Heather Tarr there in the middle, Jessica Allister. Oh my gosh, I love it. That's when I played with her. I remember that look, and these two bringing it back. But for Heather, the local players from Washington, because she's a local in-state product, how much passion she not only has for UW, but the state of Washington. They always have great players on their team. They're from the state of Washington. It's important for her to continue to do that as well.
Well, when the 14 to 16-year-old Little League World Series was up there, she would always come out to Kirkland, Washington and watch the games and be supportive of the Little League World Series, because she knew that there was always a host team that was going to be playing, and they would do clinics. Just a big part of the youth softball scene.
Yeah. She had her own travel ball team.
Yeah, exactly, which is so important for the development of the sport.
And how cool that some of those travel ballers are
here
playing at the World Series.
Some on this team. Kiki Malloy was on her travel ball team.
Yeah, the star for Tennessee. They'll be playing Oklahoma tomorrow afternoon on ABC Sports in a winner's bracket game. Infield pop-up. Jimenez has it. Well, why don't we give a little attention to that 14 years here, and who were key cogs in their regional success and that comeback against McNeese State.
Kiki Malloy plays for Tennessee. Amazing talent.
Yeah, her dad lawyer, the football star at Washington back in the day.
And her mom, a track star at Washington. She's got the combination. That's why she's got 25 home runs and 38 stolen bases. Put the two together.
Here's Silent Rain Espinosa, the senior from Alpine, California. Another player who started out her career going to the World Series and has really developed into one of the leaders on this year's team. 352 for Silent Rain in this NCAA tournament.
Grew up on the Viejas Reservation. Mom Mackenzie, her father Graybuck. Just such a unique story. You know, sitting and listening to her talk to us about how many young Native American girls have started to play the sport of softball because of what she's done.
Down in the San Diego area, where she grew up playing on fields that were named after her great-grandfather,
Daniel Espinoza.
And now here at the World Series, and a base runner. That'll bring up Riley Holtorf, the shortstop. Sophomore out of Phoenix. She hit 2 home runs off of Utah pitchers during their 4 games this year.
pretty good considering she's got 4 home runs on the year. Hey, there's some righties that see lefties really well, and it's interesting just the way their stance in the box. A little bit of a slap here. Typically are good at hitting inside pitches inside out, and she's .458 against lefties.
Oh, got a hold of that one, back to the wall, and there she goes again. 2-run shot, the righty defying the odds against the lefty, Smitty.
Well, and I was just saying there are just some right-handed hitters that can see the ball so well out of the hand of left-handed pitchers, and obviously you could see the way Holtorf got all into that ball. She is one of them. .458 against left-handed pitching, so good at turning on a pitch and getting that barrel to the ball, driving it out of the yard. Her 6th home run of the year. This is a curveball that just lays through the middle of the plate, and look at how quick she is. Those hands, extension, head down, a little bit of an angle that she's able to lift it and get it out. She is not a home run hitter, but against left-handed pitchers, she certainly is.
I love it. 3 of her 5 home runs on the season coming against Utah, against Lopez. And she knows it. You saw the swag kind of in the batter's box. She's now 3 for 3 versus left-handed pitchers, 2 home runs in the tournament.
15 comeback wins this season, a couple of them against Utah, and after falling behind 1-0, they have answered right back. The 2-run home run from Riley Holtorf as another batter that reached with a walk comes in to score. That was Silent Rain Espinoza in front of her.
You guys, she's been in the 9-hole most of the season, too. She's really in the line because of her defense. One of the best defensive shortstops you're going to see in all of Division I softball. They moved her up here to that 7-hole.
Well, you kind of knew this was going to be a bash fest based on the 2-2, right? They each won 2 games against each other during the regular season. The closest game was a 2-1 victory in game 1. After that, it was anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 runs scored a game. So I have a feeling neither of these teams are finished yet.
Well, the Holtorf family going to get that home run ball. The tradition continues. There you go.
Love it.
Olivia Johnson in the 8-hole stepping in. Sophomore from Pearland, Texas. Has been a DP this year, has done some catching this year. And for Mariah Lopez, she had kept the bats quiet throughout this tournament until Holtorf stepped in. The first home run she's given up.
Yeah, she's done a good job of limiting the extra base hits.
That's in 34 innings of work, by the way. She has really been their workhorse in this postseason, starting every game for them. Her ERA has actually almost dropped in half in the postseason from what it was in the regular. She threw over 300 pitches in the Supers. Nice backhand. It's short, but not the scoop at first from Bonstrom as the throw was a bit short. 2-out base runner.
Davison's going to have to go deep in that 5-6 hole. You can see the way that she's going to get to this backhanded. Good job of really driving off that right back leg, but shorts hops Bonstrom, and you can see she's trying to pick it. She's extended. Just pops out of the glove.
Should be an E6 here. Let's see. Is Heather Tarr considering a pinch runner possibly? Score that one in E6.
There's speed, and then there's Brooklyn Carter.
This is what she did.
Also softball smarts. You're talking back to stealing home. This was a delayed steal, so watch her just read and not even get a huge lead off. You see her kind of there, and just see on the throw back with the speed to come in and steal. A lot of times when you see a delayed steal, it's because it's a lob throw. They're not paying attention. No, Brooklyn Carter's like, I'm going to straight up steal. And she did.
27 for 29, good for 93% during the season. Sydney Stewart in the 9 spot. Kendall Lundberg behind the dish gives her the stare down. Kendall's out of Lakewood, California. Both her mother and her sister, college softball players at Oklahoma. Runner goes, the throw is down, and they got her. And Brooklyn Carter immediately says, check it.
I think she thinks they missed her on the tag.
And Heather Tarr is going to come out to make sure with Brooklyn and see if it's worthy of a challenge. So you have 2 per game. You don't get them back if you're right.
Because if she tagged her, she's out, for sure. But Brooklyn Carter tried to kind of go backdoor on the base.
And it does look like the challenge will go through here.
Yep, she missed her. Great job by Carter, too, to immediately say, no, no. And I'll tell you what, Carly Davidson just told her team, no, I did miss her. So they're all back on the field.
Yeah, she knows.
I mean, you do. And I mean, sometimes I wish they could just do that. Like, hey, we could look at this review, but if you guys could just tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
We could eliminate.
We can work it on the honor system.
Totally.
There is the video review booth, which is up here in the press box.
Marty Abanesian.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She got the ground.
Obvious.
She may have even beaten it anyways. Christy Cornwell, who is our rules analyst. Christy?
This is a great play to challenge because the timing of the throw looks really good, but you can see by this angle that there is no tag. Great play to challenge.
I think also so helpful when the runner can tell you.
After further review, the runner is safe.
Good challenge.
4 for 4 now in stolen bases for Brooklyn Carter here in the NCAA tournament.
Now she gets into scoring position as well for Sydney Stewart. Carter finished behind Denning in Pac-10 steals this year. And the count will go back to 1-1 here to Sydney. In the 9 spot in the lineup, can she pass the bat or bring the run in? Two and one. Big right here for Lundberg to make sure that she doesn't give Carter third base with anything that might scooch by her.
Boy, and all this with 2 outs. 2-out walk to Espinoza started all this.
And Lopez gets her to pop it up. Bonstrom by the bag, makes the catch, and that'll end the inning. But Seminoles on Saturday evening. The loser of this one has to come back later tonight, and there you see it off of our scoreboard, to face Oklahoma State. So it's possibly, unfortunately for one of these 2 schools, because of the weather issues yesterday, that they only get 2 games here and it's only 1 day of play. Because the loser here must win tonight to stick around. After the home run for Washington, a 2-1 lead as we move to the top of the 3rd. Juju Jimenez to second. 1 down. It's 3-4-5 here in the order for Utah. As we take a look at our bracket update, brought to you by Enterprise. So there you go. Elimination games will be tonight at 7 Eastern. It gets underway. Alabama, Stanford, and then Oklahoma State facing the loser of this one. Saturday afternoon on ABC at 3 Eastern, it's Tennessee and OU. And then Saturday night on ESPN, Florida State, and the winner of our all Pac-12 affair here. Beth Mullins, Jessica Mendoza, Michelle Smith, and Holly Rowe with you from Hall of Fame Stadium. Double elimination format through this opening round. The top 2 teams survive and advance to a best-of-3 championship series, which gets underway next Wednesday. The Oklahoma Sooners have won the last 2 titles. They are seeking a 6th championship in 10 years. And they're also chasing history with a 57-1 record now. That stands as the best record in the history of NCAA softball. Sophie Jaquez. Oh, what do we got out in concessions? That is a massive soda and potato chip mountain
thing. Queso? What would?
Yummy, delicious.
I love that LSU just shows up anyway.
After their women won the national championship in basketball, I think they're all wearing the purple and gold any chance they get.
There's purple on the field, so.
Ooh,
Another
more.
good choice.
Yeah.
Another good choice.
Just need the floss afterwards. Yeah.
That's so you and your action. I'm like, how can I get some of that? You're like, oh man.
Where's the
it's gonna
floss?
Stuck in your teeth.
Yeah.
Do you just use the silk from the corn?
There you go.
Oh, I got you on that one.
You did.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes that gets stuck in your teeth too.
See, there we go.
Look at, there's a combination of both corn and dogs. On a stick. We're going to need some sustenance because we'll be back. Got the doubleheader coming up later today as well. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Jaquez out to center, and after a step in, a couple back for Jadlyn Alchin. 2 down.
Ruby Malin really settling in, and it's interesting. Her numbers, second time through the order, usually you see them go up. She actually has worse numbers first time through the order. Batters hit close to 300 against her, and then it drops down to 240. And you saw that in that first inning. You know, a lot of confusion. You could see the adrenaline flowing, some timeouts, shaking off pitches, and now she's definitely settled in here in the third.
Here's Carly Davison, a grounder to short, her first time up. I love the reminder, too, from Heather Tarr, you know, when she was talking about Ruby. Sometimes the youngsters come in and they want to take over the world and they want to take on every responsibility with everything they throw. And she said, just win the pitch. You don't have to win the war every time.
Yep.
And that focus that we hear from a lot of coaches, this one pitch at a time mentality.
Well, because when you're stressed, it's easy for your mind to spin out of control. You start worrying about things that aren't even going to happen. You start worrying about the batter on deck and the batter in the hole when you just need to focus on the one pitch that you're throwing to the batter in the box. And sometimes you always say, what's the most important pitch in softball? It's the next pitch coming. And for young pitchers, that's all you need to focus on. Rip it off your fingertips, grip it and rip it, throw it.
Just missed it outside.
Yeah, you can see by her body language, a little frustrated on that call. Kind of a kick of the dirt, curveball that she doesn't get.
She's fiery. Yeah. You can see it. She's got that emotion. She competes.
You heard where the dugout asked you, did you see the catcher Stewart point to the outside? The dugout was wondering where that one missed. So a lot of communication going on. We love to hear the umpire telling all three of them, the pitcher, catcher, batter, where that was if it missed.
So important, you know how to make those adjustments. All right, it's an inch outside, 2 inches, whatever it is. Make the adjustment, pull it in, low, up. Because those are all feels. A lot of times that's not a massive adjustment. That's a little bit of a feel, a little bit of a pressure on the fingertip, snap of the wrist.
Another foul ball. One of the hot topics all season long, Smitty, has been the strike zone. And, we've seen so many walks this year. We've seen a ton of foul balls and how tough it can be at times for pitchers to get that strikeout pitch.
trying to find the out pitch. And, you know, when the strike zone is smaller and you have to bring the ball through the zone or on the edges of the zone, there's more opportunity for contact to be made. And so that's what we see. Foul ball, ground ball, pop up, you know, foul ball to the back of the net.
Also, with the introduction of so much more film study and so many more analytics for the pitchers and the hitters to glam onto and try and digest.
Well, hitters, they know what they're hunting, and that's the key. And then they can sit and wait, not worry about half of the strike zone. It makes it easier to hit.
I always go back to, you know, UCLA and Arizona combined for 20 national championships. And, you know, the great Arizona coach Mike Candrea, when we asked him, how come you guys don't win it every year anymore? And he's like, well, one of the huge things is you guys on television. Thanks a lot for putting all the games on everywhere. There's no more secrets. Everybody knows everybody. The familiarity is there. You can scout everything. And a 2-out walk gets Davison aboard.
Third walk of the game given up by Malin.
Of course, a lot of those championships were very good coaching and very good pitchers and really good hitters. That Arizona dynasty in the mid-90s, good Lord. You know, we talk about UCLA and their three-peat and Oklahoma going for a three-peat this year. They won 4 or 5, and the one that they lost, UCLA had to vacate because of NCAA violations. It was close to 5 in a row for those legendary Zona teams. And that was on the heels of that UCLA three-peat, the great Kellyanne Perez years with Lisa Fernandez and that group that won 3 in a row. And that was also one of those teams that was 54-2. That's the best record for a national champion ever produced that Oklahoma is in pursuit of this year with just a single loss. Sooners have lost games here, though, the last 2 championship runs. The question is, can you knock them out twice in the open round, or can you beat them 2 out of 3 in a champ series? Abby Dayton pops it up. Holtorf calls for it. And side is retired. A walk and a runner left on. We got a 1-run ball game. Huskies in front. Utah took the lead in the top of the second. Back-to-back doubles for Denning and Lundberg, and then Washington grabbed the lead in the bottom of the second with Riley Holtorf's 2-run home run. And now the Huskies swing it back around to the top, and Bailey Klingler, who struck out her first time up, she questioned the call since it was only her 6th strikeout of the season. And it appeared that she was right and did check on her swing, but was called out. So her second look at Mariah Lopez, the All-American in the circle, who was also the Pac-12 tournament most outstanding player. Lifted out to center. And room to move for Abby Dayton, 1 down. Lopez picked up a win over Washington in the semis, and then that stunner in the final where they knocked out UCLA to win the first ever Pac-12 tournament down in Tucson. And that was the real springboard. They went 11-1 in the month of May. Mariah herself was 8-1 in the circle.
Well, Beth, and to your point, if you look, you know, over the last 8 to 10 games, I mean, they've been battles. They have been high-scoring affairs where their pitchers give up runs, but their offense puts runs up on the board, and a lot on the line, a lot of pressure back and forth. That's what this time of year is about.
shoot, after waiting nearly 30 years to get back here, the extra 24 hours, not a big deal for Utah. And to be able to celebrate at home was really cool for this program, led by one of their own, who had played on their last World Series team in 1994. Last year, they were a 500 team, and the NCAA said no thank you. They were one of the first teams out of the field.
Which that in itself is pretty incredible, Beth.
Yeah.
And they knew it. I mean, that stung them. They worked hard. Quite a few of the athletes stayed during the summer to train. They get stronger in the weight room.
That was Holly's report earlier on the 1176. That's the mileage from Salt Lake over the mountains to the Sooner State. And Holly's got more on that celebration, Holly.
Well, you're talking about a springboard. I was so impressed with Amy Hogue. They have a tradition at Utah when they win big.
Oh, I love it.
That's awesome.
So great.
Always a pleasure to see Joe and her Aggies came here to town to play.
Where was her backflip? That would have been awesome.
Well, I think the second best jump was one of our own and one of Utah's finest graduates. There she is, socks and all. Get in there, Holly Rowe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now wait for it as she came back up with the U out of the water.
This is when the game just gets in the way.
That was like a $400 silk shirt, and I ruined it. I ruined it. That's how. But if you were in the building, they all start chanting your name, and you can't say no, or you're a loser. So you have to do it and go with it. And
Here comes the U, Holly. Look at her emerge out of the water with the U.
I am proud. This has never happened in my almost 20 years of covering the World Series to have my team here. So I'm proud. I did apologize to Heather Tarr in Washington. Like, just give me this one moment to celebrate, and then I promise I'll be super unbiased the rest of the time.
She gets it.
Yeah.
It's been electric for our crew because you three guys all have alma maters here, which is really awesome.
Really awesome.
It really is to see the alums that come back. I mean, Washington, too. I mean, to see their alums that show up every time that they're here. Utah. I mean,
Monica Abbott, who's been a bigger cheerleader front row for Tennessee. Yeah.
And Stanford, seeing players I played with, and obviously Jessica Allister and Tori Nyberg having played, so all of our teammates are here.
So many Sooners around. Jocelyn Allo's in town. Nice running catch for the third out. And a 1-2-3 inning. Hey, we got Heather Tarr on the mic with
Coach, you have a freshman in the circle. This is her first time on this stage. What did you see from her early, and how has she settled in?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing. These guys have been here as young kids and watched this, and sometimes they get tight and make it bigger than it is, but she's settling in pretty nicely.
Yeah, she used to drive from Nebraska to sit in the stands, so that makes sense. Tell me a little bit about Riley Holtorf. She's got 3 home runs off Mariah Lopez. Why is she so good in that matchup?
Yeah, I just think, we played Utah late in the season. I think this time Riley's gotten better and better throughout this season, and regardless of who she's hitting off of, she's been really good for us.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, go Dogs.
Yeah, Riley Holtorf in the bottom of the second, a 2-run shot to get him the lead.
Yeah, beautiful job, by the way, of adjustment even within this at bat. Look at the sidestep that she went to. Hadn't done it earlier in that at bat. You gotta love that. Making those adjustments, she has a lot of confidence against lefties.
Yeah, and Jess, that's an inside curveball that the lefty Lopez is trying to throw her. So by moving to the front of the box, by sidestepping and moving up, she's attacking that pitch before it still really starts to run into her. So just a great adjustment, really looking for that inside pitch, knowing where she wants to contact and attack that ball. Wow. Great mid-bat adjustments.
All right, so back to 7, 8, 9, Haley Denning, and here is that strange alignment, the shift for the second baseman, Bailey Klingler. Denning on her first time up was able to chop one over the head of the pitcher, Ruby Malin, who let it go thinking there must be a defender behind her. There wasn't. Denning got to second and then came in on the RBI double from Kendall Lundberg.
This is such great television because, you just want to watch. Where does she hit it? Where does she place it now? How do they defend her? This is so different from anything we have seen. And I love it. Like, I can't take my eyes off because it is definitely, as a left-handed batter, that is in your grill. Like, you are very conscious of Klingler being that close to the pitcher, that close to you. It affects you. But you see her right now looking around. Okay, where's my hole? I'm going to find that hole.
And for the defense, good use in their game prep, probably some spray charts. That's a spot that Denning likes to go to. I think we documented, what, 24 infield hits this year for Haley?
Well, and it's interesting for Haley, the majority of her hits are back up the middle. When you look at her spray chart, 33%, 66% are basically shortstop to second base, right back up the middle, and then really gap to gap.
That right now is the biggest hole in the infield.
Klingler moved back. I think
Yeah,
two strikes, it takes away the bunt. And I think that's the biggest part of all of this too, is the two hits coming in against Washington that Denning had were both drag bunt hits.
Well, and interesting too for Malin is that typically she's going to be at about 48% swing and miss. Just one today. That's an 8% clip. So Utah, good job.
Jammed her inside, and the throw over to first is low from Malin. And again, Denning will wind up on second base with the infield hit. Deja vu.
This is where speed just creates chaos, and this is what Haley Denning has done in both of her at-bats. You doubt yourself, you're not sure what to do, where's the defense? Yes, you prepare, you try to set up in the right spots.
Oh, and I think they're going to call her out of the batter's box.
That was the first at-bat for Haley Denning back in the second inning. You saw Ruby Malin just unsure, what do I do? She gets a double. She gets called out in this at-bat for being out of the batter's box. But what was a rush throw because of speed would have been an error on the pitcher. Look at that left foot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just barely out.
Just barely.
Or does it hit her when it goes down? Did it?
Because she had
tell.
2 strikes.
Well, that's what Amy Hogue is pondering here. Does she want to challenge? And it would appear not.
No, she's out.
Yeah, she's out of the box. And then it goes down, but does it hit her off the knee? Does it go off her knee? Because if she's out of the box and it hits her, then she's also out.
I don't think it did. It looked like it was going to, though.
Yeah.
But she's out of the box.
Well, these two at-bats, just the short game conversation in a nutshell there, and what you can do by hitting it just a very short way, so long as you're in that box. Our rules analyst, Christy Cornwell.
Yeah, so that was a good call, actually, by the second base umpire. That's his call. And once she's called out for out of the box, anything that happens after that doesn't really happen. So she's just out for being out of the box. Great call by the crew.
Thank you, Christy. That's Robbie Guest. So instead of a runner on second, had a chance to tie it, 1 out for Kendall Lundberg, who had the double the first time up. That set the new school single season record. So a record for doubles, a record for runs scored. They entered the game on pace to set a new school record for batting average. We'll see if they can keep that up.
Best offense they've ever had. And it's because of the combination of what you're seeing, old school, new school. That's DJ Gasso with the pop and understanding of having more power on this team. And then it's Amy Hogue with the short game. I mean, she understands the ballpark they play in at home, the amount of space that they have. And I love the two of them coming together with their hitting philosophy. And it took time, too, because DJ came in and it was definitely a different adjustment. And Amy's like, hold up, that's still not who we are. And they were able to find kind of that happy medium that works great for this Utah team.
1-2 is away. Kendall moved into the starting lineup in the first weekend in April. Numbers have dipped in the NCAA tournament, but she hit .400 against Washington during the regular season.
Ball inside.
Full count.
She had her sister Kylie Lundberg that played. It's from a family of softball players.
Malin walked a couple in the first 2 innings and then settled in. After the early bullpen work for Lindsay Lopez, no activity since that first inning. This is her 5th full count already. And now her 3rd walk. Check that 4th walk.
You know, sometimes she's struggling a little bit with that drop ball, not quite getting over the top of it, so it has a little run.
Well, and now Lance Glasso will come out to talk, and is he going to take the softball from Ruby, or was that just a handshake there?
Took the ball.
Took the ball. So, pitching change on the way for Washington with a 2-1 lead. Here at the World Series now, since Michigan won the very first one back in 2005. That started a shift of softball excitement from the West Coast to spread it east of the Mississippi for the first time, and that was around that time as well that the folks in the Southeastern Conference started to crank it up. And in recent years, the ACC has also elevated their status in softball. And then, of course, Kaylani Ricketts and Lauren Chamberlain took charge at OU. Then that fab freshman class led by Shay Knighton and Sid Romero and Kaylee Clifton and Fale Aviu won a couple in a row. And now the current crop, after Jocelyn Allo, the dynamic leader of the last 2 titles, moved on to graduation. There's Paige Parker, 2-time champ. Oh, at one point early in her career, she had the best numbers of any pitcher in World Series history. Then had to tough out a championship at the end of her career. Got it done. And that'll drop in for a base hit for Shelby Ortiz. So the bottom of the order getting a couple on to pass the bat.
Ortiz going to get a pitch on the outer half and just drop this in no man's land. Hortoff going back, can't get it. Alchin coming in, can't get it. Just kind of lands in between everybody. But great job by the pinch runner.
That's Jordan Gasper.
Yeah, Gasper to get to second, because as a runner, you're not sure, is that going to be caught? You can't get too far off first base. She sees it hit and immediately in hard to second to make sure that she's not forced out.
Tying run at second, the go-ahead at first for Bellardi. Dropping down the bunt, and that will trickle foul. Well, you talked about it early on, Jess. They love playing a little small ball, putting some pressure on with their short gamers.
Well, and Allie kind of encompasses, when we talked about Amy Hogue and DJ Gasso, Allie's both. Because you saw her just try to lay down the drag bunt. She can go to the short game and slap, but she's got some pop too.
Clips the corner, 0-2.
Lopez really working that curveball. She can expand the zone.
If she gets called out there, I would stay out there. That was
Absolutely.
a tough pitch to hit left on left.
Yeah, and she puts it on the corner, gets the call, so there's no reason not to just move that another 2 to 3 inches off the plate. See if she can't get the swing and miss, the bite, the call.
Oh, strike 3. 2 down.
Come back in with the off speed though.
There you go.
Because you see that as a hitter. And you're thinking that's going to be hard and in, and so your hips fly. Watch her hips just totally open up. Instead, nope, pull that string 54 miles an hour. That's why I think the toughest pitch in sport is when you come inside with off speed, because as a hitter, you explode. You don't realize that pitch is actually a lot slower. Only her second whiff versus a left-handed pitcher this season for Belardi. And her first strikeout. That's a rare strikeout.
So now it's Alyssa Bondstrom. Utah now just 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Lopez catching that inside corner. On in relief here of Ruby Malin, who went 3 1/3. And now Ruby, her biggest cheerleader. Got her to chase.
Oh, wow. That's just got great movement. That's a rise ball, but it's almost coming at your front shoulder as a lefty, so it looks like it's just going to come in and hit you, and then it starts to bend into the zone as it creeps up, rises up.
That's why the advantage left on left is so big.
Multiple planes, movement.
Just missed it away. 2-2.
This is a team that has prided itself. Runners in scoring position, 2-strike hitting. Comes down to moments like right now when you're down by a run, 2 strikes.
.337 batting average with 2 outs. It's amazing. And ability of that right there to get rid of pitches, right, Jess? That's an off speed, and you know it's not a good pitch, but it's close enough. You're committed. Just get enough of it, foul it with another pitch. Yeah.
Give me another one. What do you got? And this is their best hitter. I mean, this feels like this is such an important time for Utah right now. They're down 1. You look at their numbers, 2 outs. How much that's been better.
Oh, and it hit her. Bases are loaded for Juju.
Don't want to load them for Juju.
She hit a grand slam in the Supers against San Diego State. And she's got him jacked right here. The 5th free pass for Utah. They have not been able to cash any of them in yet. Four hits this year for Juju with the bases loaded. 3 of them have left the building. Let's check out that sweet swing.
Against San Diego State. Bases were loaded. May 27th. Juju sends this one deep. This was huge, pivotal. Really slammed the door for that Utah team.
Also off a lefty.
You may recall, too, she was the player that had the facial injury in the Pac-12 tournament and was able to rebound from that. You can still see some of the effects. Her eye is still a little red. Popped it up. And Washington able to get out of it. Utah leaves them loaded. And it's still a 1-run game.
Opportunities. What do you say to your kids right now so they can start taking advantage of those?
Well, I mean, that's how you set the table and then you get a timely hit. I know we're going to keep setting the table, so we're just waiting for that hit. No one's getting down. They believe in themselves.
They've brought in that left-handed pitcher right when you get to the heart of your left-handers in the order. How do you adjust to that now moving forward with Lopez?
Well, we've seen her plenty, so we know exactly what we need to do. It's just doing it in a timely manner when we have people on. That's what we need to do.
What is it you need to do?
Well, we need to get above the ball and be on time. Pick a pitch, pick a side of the plate. I mean, they know what they've hit before. They can do it. I believe in them.
Thank you, Coach.
Go Utes.
Thank you, Holly. There are the lobs, 8-1. Utah, including leaving them loaded in the top half of this fourth inning. And they find themselves still down a run. This is the opening round game for these two teams in our double elimination format. But because of the weather delay last night, the loser here has to come back and play again tonight. Win or go home against Oklahoma State. Both of our games tonight, elimination games. It will start out with Alabama and Stanford at 7 Eastern. Then winner's bracket tomorrow. We know the first game, 3 o'clock on ABC Sports. Oklahoma and Tennessee. This is Jadlyn Alchin in the bottom of the fourth. 4, 5, and 6 coming up. Boy, she's another one that has to be careful with that step foot going out of the batter's box. We've seen it called once. On the Utes, Haley Denning, top half of the inning.
Yeah, she's really in those outside pitches. Striding across.
Hunting it. She's stepping almost on the plate to try to get to that pitch.
Nice job by the PA announcer. That was the lightsaber sound you heard as she got out to that outside pitch here inside the stadium. Star Wars sound effect. Pulls that one. And coming on and right.
Really glad you said
Shelby
that.
Ortiz.
Movie, I really had no idea.
Star what?
My movie references have aged along with me, so I just sometimes need to make sure.
Drop it in. You don't know Star Wars. Even my kids do. It's the beauty of it. It's still happening. Mandalorian.
Ageless
stuff. Yeah.
Kelly Lynch, former high school national player of the year out of Georgia, now in her senior season. She's got a home run in the NCAA tournament and had 2 home runs during the regular season against Utah.
Ball's out.
Trying to use that backdoor curveball against the righties to bend it back into the zone. So it's almost bypassing the front part of the plate and starting to bend into the back half of the plate. A little bit outside, doesn't get the call.
Two-one pitch.
Nice pitch. There it is again. Brings it in just a little bit, gets the call.
I want to see that pitch to lefties. You know, we were talking about Alchin just sitting away, kind of searching away, being able to throw that pitch not just to righties, but to come in the front door of lefties too.
Front door to the hitter.
Yep. Front hip.
The debate.
The whole backdoor curve, front door curve discussion, folks, that we had the other day was like a Seinfeld
During
episode. During the rain delay last night.
Because even when we're not calling softball, we're talking softball.
That's right.
We live a full and complete life. Here's the 3-2 pitch.
Embedded. Completely embedded in thought and in analysis.
Let's send it down to Holly.
My favorite thing was after we did a 17-inning game, the longest in softball history. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and when we went back all to Michelle's room and we watched the game again and stayed up till 5 a.m. talking about the game. That's why I love us.
How do you go to bed after that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was insane.
Yeah. Missed the window. That was like back in the 9th inning.
Exactly. That dramatic 17th inning home run from Shea Knighton to beat the Florida Gators. I feel like the Gators had a runner on third base like 5 of those extra innings.
Yep.
That was just incredible.
But it was
a few
exciting.
years back.
A lot of times
yeah.
you think 17 innings and you're like, oh, that sounds awful.
I think it ended with the bases loaded.
It was such a great
If memory
game.
serves me. I'm sure Twitter will straighten us out if not. But that was epic.
Ooh. Wow.
Bailey Klingler, her hands okay? That was awfully close to her cup that she's using as a megaphone.
Yeah, it didn't have a hole in it before the ball. Took the top right off. They're starting their rally caps early.
There's a base hit, the slow roller out to left center, and Lynch is aboard.
It was a long at bat. Really great job by Lynch.
So Solid Rain Espinosa coming up. Pitch.
Wow.
Get ready for Washington. Number 5. Now running for the Huskies.
Let's see, who's the pinch runner there? Avery Hobson will come on to run. They've already used Brooklyn Carter as a pinch runner. We will find out at the bottom of the batting order if she stays in the game as the DP or Olivia Johnson will re-enter. So that's why Hobson goes out there. And here is Espinosa, who walked and scored on the home run, and the runner Hobson was on the move there.
Silent Rain had that big time walk. 2 outs to be able to lead to the home run. It's the difference of this game.
Left side, Denning by the lines, got it. 2 down.
The reason the difference in this game was the huge home run. The difference right now, 2-1 for Washington.
Can she do it again?
Yeah, that's just knowing what you're looking for, hunting, and then how to hit it. Basically, by moving herself up in the box, she's catching it with that barrel before it really starts to break in at her body. And I'll tell you what, as a left-handed pitcher, those were the hitters that I struggled with the most, the righties that were up in the box, because they could hit the rise before it really started to elevate and the curve before it really started to bend in at them.
I just love that she did it within an at-bat, because usually I've seen Caitlin Lim does this with Stanford. She decided just to go to it completely. Like, I'm just going to do it every time. But to actually change, that's and then hit a home run, that's not easy.
Well, That's knowing your opponent as well.
Yep, that's good scouting.
And playing 4 times against them this year, knowing how she's been pitched, making adjustments.
So you're saying, Smitty, they hit $120 off of you instead of $110? Is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what it was?
No, they didn't even hit her. It bugged her, and then she got him out.
They fouled me off a lot more, that group.
Gotta have tools, right? They're making those adjustments inside, figure out something to go outside. It's always, zigging when they're zagging.
Olympic gold medalist Michelle Smith and Jessica Mendoza here in the booth. Holly Rowe down on the field with us, the Hall of Famer. And nope, that one will get back down onto the field. After the delay last night, these two teams are enjoying their time on the field as we approach the 2-hour mark for 4 innings. This is why another one of the big discussions for next year in the Rules Committee will be to add the pitch timer to do what Major League Baseball has done and get rid of a lot of the lost time between pitches. Make sure that pitcher stays around the rubber. Make sure the hitters stay around the batter's box. A lot of talk around softball, limiting the amount of times the players can get together in the circle, the coaches come out to the circle. All in an effort to just clean it up. Keep our games closer to that 2-hour window.
Not even a throw.
Yeah, Hobson will just go ahead and take the base.
Looks like she bobbled just a little bit, spun in her hand.
9 for 10 on the season for Avery, so that insurance run out at second. Oh, she got a hold of another one. Holtorf down the line and foul.
I mean, it's unbelievable to me because just the level of power that she brings, not only against left-handed pitching, but against Mariah Lopez. I mean, there is something in her eyes that just gets so excited.
Just 5 home runs. It's not like she's a 15, 20 home run hitter.
And the pop.
3 in May, though. Man, she gets hot late.
She knows about the mayhem. Saving her best for last. Can she get Hobson home? Skies it, drifting towards the dugout, and that'll reach the netting.
And that was a good pitch from Lopez, too, because when you see that, eyes getting big, kind of, okay, I'm going to really get into my swing. And a lot of times with that launch, your barrel does get underneath the ball. She goes upstairs a little bit. Full count, knowing that she's going to have to battle.
Holtorf's only struck out once so far in this postseason. Another 3-2 pitch. Right back up the middle, and that's a base hit. Heading for home, the throw to the plate, not in time. Hobson scores, and Holtorf has driven in all 3 for the Huskies. No hesitation from Heather Tarr telling Hobson to scoot.
This is your number 9 hitter most of the season. She moved up to the 7th spot. Heather Tarr had an understanding of how hot she's been. Talk about the numbers in May. She hits a home run in her last at bat. Takes a ball, you guys, a ball. This is ball 4, but she wants to hit. And you can see why. Just gets enough into the outfield. Scores another run for her Huskies.
2-run home run, and now the RBI single. Both of them coming with 2 outs.
And how about the 8 pitch at bats? Lynch for her hit, and then Holtorf as well, working the full counts. box.
Olivia Johnson stays in the lineup as the DP. Reached on an error back in the first, or in the second.
I think she's looking for that backdoor curveball away. Getting pitched a lot away, at least in our last at bat. That first pitch kind of came middle in, which would have been a good pitch to hit if you were looking there, which tells me she's looking the other side of the plate.
Exactly. You can always tell as a pitcher when you throw a pitch on a corner and they don't budge at it, you're like, okay.
I know.
They're looking elsewhere. They're hunting something different.
And you touched on it, Michelle, their ability to fight off. So there have been 2 9-pitch at-bats, the last 3 to the plate.
Absolutely. Fouling off pitches, stressing the pitcher. 3-2 counts, you can't hide anywhere. You can't waste anywhere. So you have nowhere to go but into the zone. And that's a lot of being a pitcher is that, what you were saying, Jess, is reading the body language of the hitter. You become to be very good at reading people's reactions, the body language. That's what you do as a pitcher to figure out what they're doing, what they're hunting. Are they confident on a corner? Because that just helps you. Because remember, we called our own game, so it's a little different nowadays when that information, the calls are coming from the dugout, but as a pitcher, you still have to pay attention to that. What is the hitter doing? Are they up in the box, back in the box? Are they taking a really good pitch on the outer half? If they are, they're probably hunting in. All of that is feedback to help you call or throw your next pitch.
That's that computer that the good Lord gave you.
Yeah. That unfortunately at times is taken out of the game when everything is coming out of the dugout.
Yep. A lot of information coming at you, and a lot of the coaches we talk to, we have to do the foraging to find stuff and then fit it to each individual. And simple but effective. And a called strike 3. They add another one off the bat around. Get underway this evening at 7 o'clock with Alabama and Stanford. Might that be the All-American matchup of Montana Fouts and Elena Vodder in the circle? Last year, Stanford ended Alabama's season in the Tuscaloosa Regional, and those two went at it.
Vodder was very good against Alabama.
Yes.
Low in the zone, drop, drop, drop.
Let's see, I think it was Vodder shut them out, then Fouts shut them out, and then Vodder came back to shut them out again.
Oh, love it. Pitcher's making a statement.
That's what that game's going to be about.
Absolutely.
Sophie Hawkes to lead things off, 4, 5, and 6. It's a hole to 1 and almost to the track. Husky is there.
Hitting it into the wind blowing in from right field.
Some pop off the bat.
I'll tell you what, though, even though those two teams lost yesterday, Alabama's bats were alive. They scored 5 runs, and Stanford had base runners and runners in scoring position. I believe 3 of those innings against Oklahoma, they had chances.
Yep. Well, that's it. It's not just about chances here in Oklahoma City, right? You got to get it done.
There's Carly Davison.
When you look at this game, I mean, Utah has had tons of chances.
What's the lob count? Up to 8?
8.
Including bases loaded in the 4th. And you speak about the timely hitting. Sometimes it's one person, like Riley Holtorf for Washington. 2 of their 3 hits today. Both of them have lit up the scoreboard.
Everyone else is 1 for 13. She's been their offense. And she's here for their defense. I mean, she can obviously hit too, swing the bat, but her D is what gives her the name.
For Washington, if they just clean up the free passes, they've had 4 walks in the game, a hit batter, and an error. I mean, that's where the majority of the runners have come on base for Utah. They've only given up 3 hits.
1-2 pitch from Lindsay Lopez, her second inning of relief work and her second strikeout, 2 down.
Nice rise ball in the outer half. Got some good movement on that pitch. So she starts it in the river, basically left-handed batter's box. Looks the way it's going to come in and up. So multiple planes, it's changing as it rises up and in to the outer half of the plate. Really good snap on this pitch, really good movement and location. Nice big strikeout, her second in her relief appearance.
Yeah, just the third for Utah. Doesn't get a lot of swing and miss. It's the team. In fact, Sophie Jaquez literally only had a handful of swing and misses all season. Pitches in the zone. So 2 strikeouts today.
Dayton, a couple balls in the air. Her first 2 times up. And a liner right at Silent Rain with the quick glove work. Showing the chicklets after a glove saved them all. Last night, because of weather delays, they had to play it this afternoon. Coming up later tonight, elimination games. Got a double header for you that gets underway at 7 Eastern. And the loser of this one will have to take part in that and come back to play later tonight. Winner will play tomorrow night against Florida State. Sydney Stewart leading things off. It's 9 and then the top to face Mariah Lopez.
A little bit of talking about what's working, what's not, what you're doing next inning.
A light moment between pitcher and catcher. Lopez, the pitch count getting up around 90 now. It's been a smoking hot day. Temperatures in the upper 80s, high humidity. That may be more of a factor than the pitch count. Or a combo of the two.
Ball's down.
Nice rise ball.
Got her to chase. 1 down.
Mariah Lopez, 5th strikeout of the day, using that rise ball in the upper half. After going downstairs for the setup, she comes up into the eyes, gets the big swing and miss.
Let's send it down to Holly.
Well, Mariah Lopez has great endurance. She threw 317 pitches last weekend in the Super Regionals. At one point, Amy Hogue said she has gone into the circle and said, hey, I need to take you out. And she said, Coach, do not take me out. Amy said, okay. If you believe in yourself in this moment, then we believe in you too. She has worked really hard, she said, this offseason, getting strength in her legs, getting strength in her core. She believes she can go the distance. She's a very mentally strong young lady, and she wants to be out there. But Amy Hogue will have a decision to make. If they lose this game and have to play again tonight, how much endurance does she really have?
Yeah, Holly, a pitcher that wants the ball is more dangerous than anything. You've got to have a pitcher who wants that ball in the circle, who's not afraid to attack the strike zone, and has trained for moments like this to be able to potentially throw a doubleheader. You have to work during the year, throw a bullpen, maybe wait an hour or two, throw another bullpen of 100 pitches. Train yourself to be able to throw those doubleheaders when potentially they come up late in the season.
And Mariah is 8-1 in the month of May, and they told us her mindset changed in the UCLA series when Amy came to take her out, and she said, no, I'm not going. A seminal moment for any pitcher, right? She did get lifted, but it was begrudgingly. And that was the moment. I want the ball. I want to throw it every pitch, every game. That is often the the moment where a regional or a super regional pitcher becomes a World Series pitcher.
Well, and she relies a lot on spin versus velocity. So, she can throw more innings and longer innings and continue to work on the spin. She's not a high strikeout pitcher. So even though her pitch count is rising here in the 5th inning, approaching 100 pitches, you really start to focus on your spin speed versus your ball speed.
Opposite way, and that'll drop in. Base hit, Bailey Klingler. And here comes the heart of the order with 1 on and 1 out.
2-strike hitting. I mean, look at the location of this pitch. It's a changeup, too. I mean, this is such a pitcher's pitch. 2 strikes. And you saw Bailey Klingler battling off pretty much every pitch Mariah had thrown. She's like, fine, I'll throw one about a foot off the plate, changeup. This is where Klingler is so good, hitting .420 with 2 strikes. To see why there. Wow.
Sammy Reynolds. So here comes 3 in a row of their best hitters so far in the postseason. Holly?
Well, Bailey Klingler, I was looking at my notes from past years. Her very first season with the Huskies, I wrote down, can hit all balls in all zones. She covers the entire plate, and that's exactly what you saw right there. That was down and out. But from her freshman year, they've known she has that kind of range and protection.
That's why she only had 5 strikeouts on the season coming in. She got her 6th in this game, only really on a swing that she checked.
Yeah.
Because Holly, she doesn't miss. Can I give you guys a nerd stat?
Please, nerd us up.
643, like who we work with, right? So there's something called Z contact. Bailey Klingler has a 98% Z contact. What that means is every time she decides to swing, 98% of the time she makes contact.
That's impressive.
So 2% she misses. That is
right.
Insane.
That's nuts.
You see those numbers down like 60%, 70 maybe. That's good. Well, then there's Bailey. She's 98%.
98. Well, that's why she's the leadoff as well.
Yeah.
Sets the tone.
Well, we got discussions going on for both sides here. Our 6'4" buddy Derek is up here wearing the nerd moniker with great pride and a smile on his face.
I'm going to get him those glasses.
Finding the nuggets along with our
Nerd Nation.
stat superstar Karen Johns with us throughout the tournament here in the booth.
Just the amount of really good information, in-depth information.
0-2 to Reynolds. Got under it. Couple converging, and Ortiz will take it. Klingler back to first, 2 down.
On the stats on Lopez, 45% of her pitches have been curveballs, 23% rise balls, 19.5% screwballs. So you can just see the different ways she's been attacking Washington in this game.
She's done a great job with everybody except for one.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's just been Holtorf.
Madison Husky tried to wait as long as she could on the off speed, still a little out in front. Seven flyouts, a couple ground outs, and Mariah has 5 strikeouts today. Coach Tarr still thinking she's playing in the hot corner over there. That was her spot back in the day. Quick out of that batter's box.
Except kind of thought she was a soccer player. She used her foot on that one.
Yep.
Now she's like, that hurt.
Ow. Really a cool moment for Heather and Husky Nation and Stanford as well. Her former teammate, or right next to her at short, Tammy Storseth, her daughter is River Mailer, who is here playing at the Women's College World Series for the Cardinal.
That's awesome.
And her teammate Sarah Pickering was her second baseman, led their team in doubles, had the record forever. She coached at Stanford.
Yeah.
Coach Jessica Allister.
Line to left. And Denning is there. A runner on, a runner left on.
But Tana, a little different pitcher now with that leg injury. She's going to be a little bit more down in the zone.
So much emotion for the Tide. Fans nationwide, I think, are trying to channel the vibes to the two head coaches to make that the matchup tonight.
I'd love to see it. Both just so good at what they do.
7 Eastern on ESPN this evening. The first of our 2 elimination games. Oklahoma State against the loser of this one here would be the second game. And the pop-up from Haley Denning, and hey, the shift works out that time for Klingler.
Who is the second baseman, to remind you, look at where she starts. Able to just easily come over, make this grab. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult. Of course, first base was brought in, but this unique defensive shift. First time they've been able to get her out on their own defensively. Haley Denning has been a tough out.
In for a strike from Lindsay Lopez, the transfer from Arizona State, who really just started to come on at the end of the season. You know, you forget sometimes with all these transfers, it may take a minute to get your feet under you and feel comfortable in a new environment. And it took her, well, half the season pretty much.
More than a minute.
And then things clicked for her.
And they really have. I mean, I feel like that's been a part of just her clicking with Lance Gastow, getting with the entire staff, understanding, you know, this is how we approach things. These are the analytics that we use. There's so much information now. Lopez looking the best that she's looked, not only all season long, but even in her career this last month.
I think she came from ASU. Trisha Ford was there last year, and Trisha Ford's also big with analytics, but calls a completely different game than Lance, and so that is part of it. Getting used to different weather and you know, everything about it. You know, you look at the adjustments you have to make. It's almost like having that freshman year again.
One-two to Lundberg.
Wow, and just the number of foul balls continues to just increase. When Malin was in the game with Mariah Lopez, they had 49 foul balls between the two of them. Again, this was a couple of innings ago. 17 two-strike foul balls. So when you talk about pace of play and length of game, I mean, think about that. It's an extra 50-plus pitches being thrown because of the volume of foul balls.
And Ruby could re-enter, by the way, if need be. As this game chugs along towards the 3-hour mark in some pretty good heat today in Oklahoma City.
And reminder, too, that the loser of this game has to go and play later tonight.
You do not want that.
Well, there's already been 207 pitches thrown in this game. And we're in the top of the 6th.
Another 9-pitch at bat. Lost her. Tying run to the plate for Stanford, for Utah, excuse me.
You're already there. You're in our night game.
I'm getting ready for that night game. And it will be, let's see, Shelby Ortiz, the 9 batter. 1 for 2, singled her last time up.
And they already pinch ran for Lundberg. So remember, this is a Washington team that you can run on. A lot of stolen bases over the course of the season, but this would not be a situation here. Not a lot of speed at all at first.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of steals against Washington during the regular season. Amy Hogue said, hey, we'd like to steal when the game says to steal.
Yep.
And off the top of the sidewall.
And back to your point on that quote from Amy is that, you know, in a situation here where they're down by 2 runs, you know, outs, they have to conserve the outs.
Yes.
So, you know, picking up an extra 60 feet at the risk of giving up an out doesn't make sense.
It's the second run that matters, right?
Absolutely, in this situation.
Get more runners on base.
Correct.
So the game is saying don't do it,
That's
is what
right.
you're telling us.
Stay. Red light, no green light.
Well, because also you've got the awareness of the top of the order
Absolutely.
on deck.
And if you're Utah right now, you're actually thinking, too, we need to figure out a way to put the ball on the ground. They have had so many fly outs, pop outs, line outs. Just not a lot of balls down on the ground, so they haven't really stressed the defense.
And when they did in the first inning, Bailey Klingler had her 3rd error of the season.
Yeah. Just the 27th error of the season for the team, so.
Smitty, I only count 2 balls on the ground since that inning. Well, they did have the 2 doubles, but those were one to the outfield and one the quirky hopper over the pitcher's head.
Yep. But yeah, if you look at outs made, there's a 6-4 put out in the first. And Juju grounded out the second.
Could be a pair. They'll get the lead, and that's it. 2 down.
Nice job by Klingler. Just a quick toss over to second. Almost got the double play. That's the only problem with a ground ball. Yeah, I will put the ball in play is make sure you don't hit into 2 outs.
So they will still bring the tying run to the plate here now with 2 down. 2 for 11 today with runners on base for Utah.
Ball.
Had that huge moment in the 4th, bases loaded, and Washington got Juju Jimenez to pop up. Another grounder to Klingler over to first, and that'll do it. Utah's only got 3 outs left to work with, down a pair. Right back here this evening for a 9:30 Eastern first pitch. Winner go home against Oklahoma State. Winner gets ready for Florida State tomorrow. Jadlyn Alchin, shallow left. Dennings got it, 1 down. In the 7th, it will be the 2, 3, 4 hitters for Utah. Kelly Litch singled and scored in the fourth. Lundberg tried to pull that one back in. 2-0. So Mariah says, all right, I'll sneak it back in a little bit closer.
That adjustment.
Lifts that out to left center. Good cutoff by Denning to hold it to a long single for Kelly Lynch, but it's her second hit of the day.
Boy, you can almost tell that Lynch was hunting this off-speed pitch. She's still a little bit early on it, but a lot of pitches on the outer half she doesn't even come close to biting at.
This gets enough. Watch Haley Denning, though. Great job being able to cut this ball off. I thought it was going to the wall. It was going to be a double. So did Kelly Lynch. She came big round around first.
So the Huskies here going to go to their bench, looks like, for a pinch hitter. And Alana Johnson will step in to hit for Silent Rain Espinosa, who can re-enter at third base. Alana, the freshman out of Summit, Mississippi. 3 for 7 so far in the NCAA tournament. A couple of hits this year as a pinch hitter.
Time is out.
Boy, Lopez was about to pitch. Catcher wasn't even looking.
Holly?
Goal years and years ago, promised her parents, and here she is getting an at-bat at the Women's College World Series. I literally just gave myself chills to tell you the story.
Goosebumps.
It's so amazing.
I love that the parents kept the sign.
It's so cute.
That was the same sign. That is amazing.
So awesome.
Peace of mind to take the picture, be like, yeah, we will. And we're going to show this when you're here playing. Oh, so cool. That's what's amazing, too, how much this entire tournament has grown, because now there's all these travel ball tournaments that happen during the Women's College World Series. That didn't happen 10, 15 years ago, and you will see tonight, I mean, there will be, because they're all playing right now, there will be thousands of little girls.
Some of them playing hooky today from school. Or maybe it's already out.
There you go. Could be summer.
That's one of my favorite parts coming back here year after year, is you run into somebody who said, hey, I used to watch this as a little kid. Or even the players that were here winning championships, and 10 years later they say, hey, when we all get together at our reunions, we still love watching all the highlight reels and the footage
Yep, absolutely.
of the coverage of the Women's College World Series now in its 41st year. Full count.
Good job by Lundberg behind the plate to make sure that ball doesn't get past her. Allow Lynch to move up.
Does she show up at the World Series? She gets a base hit at the World Series.
That is awesome. First at bat here in OKC. After having that dream, making the sign, Mom and Dad, you'll be watching me here. And how about this? First at bat, on the pitch up in the zone, getting barrel on it, finding it to left field. It's got to feel so good reaching first base.
Works to a 3-2 count. Really good at bat. I mean, outcome was awesome, but even if she wouldn't have gotten a base hit, that was an impressive at bat for the freshman.
Well, we've talked a lot about the senior class, the 7 of them for Washington, but this rookie group, they have had 4 freshmen that have had a big impact. Not always easy to mesh, you know, that 5-year age difference sometimes, but they have done it at Washington. Yeah, and the veterans and the youngsters all contributing. Holly?
I was just talking to Alana's dad, and he said that they kept that poster by their nightstand in their bedroom all these years. And here's Dad in the stands watching his daughter get a hit at the World Series. I mean, it does not get much better than that.
By their nightstand. I love that too, the difference in color, because it is really
faded.
aged and faded. And they kept it this whole time.
So awesome.
Yeah. The sign, not Dad's beard, by the way. We're talking about the sign.
Yes. Look at that. That is
so cool.
Awesome. Now they need to
Fabulous.
put that in a frame.
Yep.
Look at that, too. I love that be heard and live out loud. Not just the message from her, but from the NCAA. And that's great. So back-to-back singles, and here is the big swinger today, Riley Holtorf. 2-run homer in the second, RBI single in the fourth. It's been a whole lot of Riley and not so much of the rest.
She's their offense, and see this inning, a couple more hits added to that number by others on the team, but she has carried them, all 3 ribbies coming from her bat.
No. Paige Parker came out to talk to Lopez, and you can tell pitching her a little bit differently. Curveball underneath the hands, then comes back with the changeup on the outside.
Starting to go to that pitch more too, Smitty.
I'd come back with it again here. 0-2. Keep it low, waste it.
And Holtorf gets another base hit to load him up. 3 straight singles for UW.
And that's an 0-2 pitch. So we were just talking about, what do you throw her? You come underneath the hands, you have to do something different. She's already 2 for 2 off of you and has hit a home run. And this is a 0-2 pitch that is just too sweet. Look at it. It is right over the plate. She's still hunting. She's moving up, so she's going to approach this ball, and she is going to hit it well out in front before it has the opportunity to go up. Pounds it through the 5-6 hole on, again, 0-2. That is a miss you can't make as a pitcher. Great job by Holtorf. You know, we talk about how good her defense is, and she's really in there because she's an outstanding shortstop, but, I mean, her ability to adjust in game offensively, outstanding today.
Olivia Johnson, the DP. How do you make sure you maintain your balance when you're sliding like that in the box?
Well, that's the whole thing, is it's not like how a slapper would do where they cross over. So you're actually never losing your balance.
You're just stepping early.
Yeah. And moving up.
It's just moving
Through the box. The Japanese are very good at that. They did that all the time over in the professional league.
In for a strike, 1-1.
And this is big for Lopez to try and get out of this. I mean, 2-run deficit, opportunity in the top of the 7th to try to, you know, turn this game around, but it just gets harder and harder.
Got her 1-2. Up to 118 pitches. Again, she has thrown by far the most pitches for Utah in this postseason, with the threat looming that they would have to come back and play again tonight if this score stays the way it is. 2-2.
Great take by Johnson. Started to lean toward it and held up.
Singles for Lynch, Johnson, and Holtorf to load them up. And now Olivia Johnson. Johnson, fly ball out to Denning and left. Runner tags, throw to the plate, won't be close, it'll be cut off. And it's 4-1 Washington on the Johnson sac fly.
Another 2-strike production too. I mean, just getting this ball in the air is enough, especially the speed that you've got. And this is what we've seen from both sides. 2 strikes. Not the swing and miss, but actually being able to put the ball in play, get another run in.
Well, I think that's part of what we've seen today, are the number of foul balls, the inability for pitchers to have an out pitch.
Yep.
And that's why the game gets extended, it gets long, the number of foul balls, the number of hits given up with 2 strikes.
19th RBI of the year for Olivia. And how about the production from the 7 and 8 hitters in the lineup? They've brought home all 4 runs. And here's your 9 hitter, Sid Stewart. Check that, they're gonna bring on a pinch hitter here. Brooke Nelson, one of those Washington natives.
Ball.
Brooke was a part of the big 7-run 7th inning rally against McNeese to win the regionals. To short, and they'll go the short way for the final out. Another run up, last chance coming up for Utah. 2-3-4, the big sticks ahead. Florida State, your ACC champs. And here in this one, we've got Utah, your Pac-12 tournament champs, but they are down 3 to Washington, and they have just 3 outs to work with. Good news for the Utes, they've got their best coming up, 2, 3, and 4.
Lopez has been strong against him in this game. 50% of her pitches curves.
Laces that one deep and back on the track, and the catch is made by Madison Husky, 1 down.
Job by Madison Husky going back and over her head. Lopez loving it. She knows she got away. Pitch left a little bit sweet on the zone.
Husky, not on my watch.
Like, I got your back. I got your back.
Here's Juju. Had that chance with the bases loaded. Back in the 4th. And now looking to be a rally starter here in the 7th. They've had base runners in 5 of the first 6 innings. 9 left aboard. Again, has Husky on the move, and again, Madison is there.
Great contact, back to back. Of course, that's where the wind is blowing in. It's coming in from right field. It's the one spot in the stadium you don't want to hit it, but good contact from the 2-3 hitters for Utah.
Here's why this is significant. 90% of the teams that have won the championship here won their first game here to get them started. And again, the loser of this one has to play again tonight. Last chance now, Sophie Jaquez. 0 for 3, a strikeout and a pair of flyouts. Oklahoma State awaits tonight, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. That's an elimination game. Winner will get set for Florida State tomorrow.
Ball.
2-1. Lindsay Lopez in the circle for the Huskies. Split the game right down the middle with the starter, Ruby Malin.
And not a lot of strikeouts either. I mean, it's been defense.
Jaquez just fouled.
I think just 2 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts. Lopez has had 2 of them. I see a whole lot more of her too for Washington. She's looked better and better.
To short. Holtorf has it. Ball game. Huskies win it 4-1, fittingly in the glove of Riley Holtorf, who drove in 3, including a home run ball today. And the Utes fall into the losers bracket. Will have to play Oklahoma State tonight as the Huskies get another comeback win.